All right, what do you call a pet crayon? Drew. Okay, let's get to it. So we are going to be solving simultaneous equations algebraically. Now, whenever you have to solve it graphically, it takes a long time. You have to set a table of values, you have to draw your graph, you have to label your axes, and you have to hope that the lines kind of match up. So it takes a while. Solving simultaneous equations algebraically is going to be at your advantage. They're not going to specifically test you this in standard. However, I have seen questions where it is advantageous to be able to do this algebraically. Okay, it is astronomically quicker if you can handle the algebra. Okay, so essentially, we're going to use substitution. This will be the method that I go with. I know there are other methods like elimination, but for today, we're just going to work with substitution when we solve it. And essentially, how do you know that we need to use simultaneous equations? You will see two equations with two unknowns. Okay, whenever you have two unknowns, you need two equations to solve it. For example, you'll see a question like this: solve y equals 2x plus 3 and y equals minus x minus 4. There are clearly two equations and there are clearly two unknowns, one x and one y. Okay, and when you're saying simultaneous, I need to find an x solution and a y solution that will solve both of those equations. Now, I have put here a 5-step process in how we would go about solving this. I would only use these 5 steps as a guide for the first couple times that you do it. Eventually, you won't memorize like part 1, isolate an unknown, part 2. At some point, you just kind of, it becomes muscle memory. So I wouldn't work at memorizing these 5 dot points, but I would use it as a guide until you get very good and very quick at solving these equations. Step 1, isolate an unknown. Step 2, sub the expression you just found into the other expression. I'll show you what that means. Once you do that, you can solve for the unknown. Step 4, solve. Once you've solved for one unknown, you'll need to solve for the other unknown. And then after that, you'll need to express your solution as x equals y equals or as a coordinate, just to kind of finish off your answer. So really it's 4 steps. And then your 5th one is just making sure you leave your answer nice enough to read. Okay. So solve simultaneously. Why? I'm going to use the exact question as before. Step 1, isolate unknown. Okay, so when we isolate your unknown, I already have a letter all by itself. Good, done. And to make, you know what? Let's make life easier. I'm going to use this. You know what? It actually doesn't matter which one we use. I'm just going to go with this one. And we're just going to deal with it. Step 2, sub this one into the other equation. Okay, so that means because I came from the first one, I'm going to substitute that one into the second equation. So instead of writing y equals to minus x minus 4, I know that y is the same thing as 2x plus 3. So essentially, I'm going to replace this y with 2x plus 3. And I know that should be the same thing as minus x minus 4. Pause it if you need to understand where that came from. But can you see that I've just replaced my equation? Essentially, I've substituted an expression for y into the other expression for y. Okay, so y is the same thing as 2x plus 3. That's why 2x plus 3 must be the same thing as minus x plus minus 4. At this point, it just becomes a solve. This is your third part here, solve. I want to push all the x's together on the left-hand side. I'm not going to explain every single step here, but I'm just going to minus 3 to both sides. And then I'm going to solve for x, which is going to be minus 7 on 3. My goodness, not a nice solution, but this is why the algebra kind of helps out. Okay, this is not going to work well on a gridded piece of paper. You're going to have a very hard time finding roughly negative 2 1/3. Okay, so that there is the x value. We've solved for one unknown. Step 4, we want to solve for the other unknown. If I know what x is, I should very easily be able to find y. because I know that y equals to 2x plus 3, but I've just found out that x is the same thing as minus 7 on 3. Right, I figured it out just then. And so now I can solve for my other unknown. That's minus 14 on 3 plus 3. And so this is going to be, if you use your calculator or if you do it in your head, it should be negative 5 on 3. Okay. And so there I've got my two solutions. So I can either write it together or I can just say the solution is, and here's my x value, so negative 7 on 3, and then my y value is negative 5 on 3. Okay, gross, but the algebra will take you all the way there. And so that's my fifth step. I've just written it really nicely there. Okay. All right, let's do one more just to practice. So again, step one, isolate your unknown. Can I see an unknown that is almost by itself? I can see that this 2 has an, or this x has a 2, this x has a 6, this y has a negative 2, and so that y is going to be the unknown that I isolate. So 2x plus y equals to 1. I'm going to start there, but I do want the y by itself, so I'm going to minus the 2x on both sides. Okay, that there becomes my new equation. I've isolated an unknown, which means I've made the unknown just on its own by itself. Second step, sub this into the other equation. I took it from the first one, so I need to substitute it into the second one. So 6x minus 2y equals to 5, but I now know that y is the same thing as 1 minus 2x. Okay, where did I get that from? I got it from this line here. I know that every time I see y, I can replace it with 1 minus 2x, which is what I've done here. And that there should equal to 5. Now, at this point here, if you've got brackets, you'll need to expand, collect like terms, and then solve. So your next step here, that's your step 2. Your step 3 now is going to be your solving. So I'm going to expand the bracket first, minus 2 plus 4x, because I'm expanding minus 2 times 1 is minus 2. Minus 2 times minus 2x is positive 4. All that equals to 5. Collect your like terms. 6x plus 4x is 10x. Plus 2 to both sides. 10x equals to 7. X equals to 7 over 10 because I divide both sides by 10. Boom. That there is my x. That's my solution for x. Okay, now because I now have a solution for x, I now need to substitute in, or I need to find the other unknown, which in this case is y. And I'm going to look, I've got 3 options that I can substitute my answer into. I can sub it into this one, or secretly that one there. Now, looking at this, if I want to solve for y, which equation would make the most sense for that? Of course, it would be this one. Okay, so this one here has already got y on its own, which means there's going to be less math for me to do. So y is just going to equal to 1 minus 2x, which we know that x now is the same thing as 7 on 10. If you put that into your calculator, I believe this will be negative 2/5. Okay, and again, that's your step number 4. I've solved for both unknowns. Now just leave your answer nicely. Therefore, your solution to this is going to be 7 on 10 for the x value, minus 2 and 5 for the y value. Okay. Now, if you need to pause and rewatch this video to make sure you understand what steps I'm taking, you'll need to do that. If you find that your algebra is not strong, go back to the beginning of year 11 kind of videos. They will help out with that. So all the best, good luck, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya. Bye.